The woman discovered something strange. The eggs in her hand were actually empty. She thought it was just a coincidence, so she took another one, but the result was still the same. Until she crushed the entire carton of eggs, she still couldn't find a single intact egg. But this wasn't the strangest part. When she was cleaning the glass on the balcony, the wall behind her began to move. Moments later, she was tightly squeezed by the wall, but just as she was about to suffocate, the wall miraculously returned to normal. At first, Alice thought she was hallucinating from exhaustion, so she didn't pay much attention. But as she continued cleaning the glass, she found traces left from the squeezing still there. Only then did she realize what happened before was real. This was a community touted as having the highest happiness index, created by a man named Frank. Every family that joined received a villa. Even the luxury cars were top of the line, and every man was provided with a high-paying job. There were only two conditions to join the community. First, men must join Frank's company and go to company headquarters to work each day. Second, no one was allowed near the desert in the northern part of the community. Otherwise, there would be unpredictable consequences. Life in the community was very regular. Every morning, the women would punctually walk out of their homes to see their husbands off to work, then begin their busy day. But their work was simple. They only needed to clean the house, then could enjoy leisure for the entire day. Although the community wasn't large, resources were abundant. All kinds of entertainment facilities were available. Women could freely enjoy a luxurious lifestyle. But before their husbands returned from work, they had to do physical training to maintain perfect figures, so they could better please their husbands when they returned. But this neighbor was an exception. A month ago she violated the rules, taking her son across the northern desert. When security found her, the child had vanished, and she began to act crazy, telling everyone the community was a scam, warning everyone they must leave immediately. But no one believed her. Yet Alice vaguely felt there was something more to this, until one morning, she could no longer suppress her inner urge, so she took a bus heading north. As the vehicle got closer to the destination, fewer and fewer passengers remained on the bus. Finally, only she was left. Just as they were about to reach the final stop, she suddenly heard a strange sound. Following this sound with her gaze, a terrifying scene appeared before her. A plane streaked across the sky through thick smoke, finally crashing deep in the desert. Alice wanted to ask the driver to go there for rescue, but the driver fearfully warned Alice that place was forbidden. Under no circumstances would he go there. He also warned Alice not to venture there, but facing the driver's reluctance, Alice got off the bus alone. However, as she ventured deeper into the desert, things seemed increasingly strange. She had clearly reached the plane crash site, but there wasn't even a piece of debris on the ground. The place was extremely desolate. Everywhere was filled with the aura of death. After walking for who knows how long, Alice discovered a strange building on the mountaintop. This must be the company headquarters, so she decided to go there for help. But after she struggled to climb to the top, she was surprised to find, except for a dilapidated small cabin, there wasn't even a single person there. It didn't look anything like a company headquarters should. She couldn't imagine how many secrets were hidden here, nor understand where her husband actually went every day. But just as she felt confused, she noticed something strange about the glass in front of her, so she slowly extended her hands, carefully touching it. But with a flash of red light, she immediately lost consciousness. When she woke up again, she found herself back home in the community, while her husband was busy preparing dinner in the kitchen. But his flustered appearance seemed to be desperately hiding some guilt, so Alice tentatively asked her husband how she had returned home. But her husband said when he returned from work, he found her sleeping in the room. Alice asked about the specific details of his work, but her husband refused to disclose any information, citing company confidentiality. He even got angry at Alice's persistent questioning, because he was about to be promoted with a raise, and didn't want his wife's nonsense to affect his career prospects. Alice could only drop the subject. However, that night, she had a nightmare, dreaming she was falling into a bottomless lake. That feeling of panic and helplessness was so real, it woke her from the dream, so she decided to find answers herself. The next day, after seeing her husband off, Alice took out a roll of plastic wrap, wrapping it around her head round after round. Only stopping when she could no longer breathe. As the fear of death came over her, she tore open a hole. The near-death experience convinced her further that she wasn't hallucinating. Not long after, to celebrate her husband's promotion, Frank specifically held a grand party for him. Alice also attended in formal dress, but compared to her confident husband on stage, she felt no joy. She even hid in the bathroom to escape the noisy environment. Seeing this, Her friend kindly came in to comfort her, perhaps from bearing too much pressure. Alice finally broke down. She told her friend everything she saw at headquarters and asked her friend to go there with her, but her friend not only disbelieved her, but thought she had gone mad, and finally left angrily. Alice could only helplessly return to the dinner table, but what she didn't know was, her friend was Frank's informant. That night, her husband was disappointed with Alice's behavior. The promotion opportunity he had worked hard for might be lost because of this, but Alice didn't care about promotion or raises. Her mind was filled only with thoughts of escaping this hellish place. Anywhere would do. Being together was enough. Her husband was moved by her sincerity and finally agreed to her decision. However, when they sat in the car ready to leave, her husband hesitated to start the car, instead continuously apologizing. Then suddenly, 2 security guards appeared, forcibly taking Alice away. It turned out, to keep that hard-earned promotion, her husband had told Frank about their plan in exchange for his trust. Due to her husband's betrayal, Alice was mercilessly put on the operating table. The doctor prepared to erase her memory, but at the moment the machine started, Alice remembered everything. She was actually a talented doctor, with a bright future ahead, but her husband was a complete failure. Over time, conflicts inevitably arose between them. To keep his wife firmly under his control, her husband applied to join the community, and this community was actually a carefully constructed virtual world. Here, even real-world failures could instantly transform into social elites, not only driving luxury cars and living in villas, but also having perfect wives who only knew how to please them. This attracted many men who had failed in real life. Alice's husband was one of them. He first managed to knock his wife unconscious, then tied her to the bed, finally put special equipment on her, and logged into the system together. But he had to log out of the system every day, both to provide his wife with necessary energy and to perform essential maintenance on the equipment. Therefore, in the community, he had to go to work every day, and the company headquarters on the mountaintop was actually just a path in the system. Only by exiting the system through there could one wake up in reality. Therefore, the community strictly prohibited anyone from approaching this place to keep this secret undiscovered. Then at the end of the workday, he would log back into the system and live with his wife in the virtual world. But even though Alice had now recovered her memory, it was of no use, because the doctor quickly performed the memory erasure surgery, then sent her back to that false community. Life seemed to return to the starting point, seeing her husband off to work in the morning, then cleaning the house, then participating in physical training, then enjoying life, while waiting for her husband to return. But what no one expected was, the surgery on Alice had not been successful. When she was preparing dinner for her husband, she suddenly fainted. Afterwards, those erased memories came flooding back like a tide. Seeing this, her husband tried to go comfort her, but Alice fearfully avoided him, even loudly questioning why he did this, seeing that everything was exposed.
You actually want I saved your life.
It's not true.
No, listen to me.
It's not true.
You worked all the time.
I wanted to work. I loved working. What?
You were miserable. You were so unhappy. You hated your life.
It was my life. My life. You don't get to take that from me.
I gave this to you. I gave you all of this, Alice. We are lucky to be here!
Her husband showed no remorse for his actions. He even felt he had saved his wife's life. Alice saw that her husband had gone mad, not wanting to entangle with him anymore, only wanting to quickly return to the real world. However, her husband begged her not to abandon him, because only here did he feel like a real man. If it were you, would you accept such a life?